Okay, now we're going to prepare the first solution. The first solution, I already have the fatty acid in here. The first solution is done in the 3 ml and a 3 ml reactive vial here. And we're basically going to fill this with dry THF, tetrahydrofuran. Now, tetrahydrofuran is very, very, very hygroscopic. It absorbs moisture out of the air very strongly. So the way we store it is over here in our desiccator. All right. So I should. If I don't have enough tetrahydrofuran in here to do the work, you must tell me. So here's anhydrous THF. Okay. It says anhydrous tetrahydrofuran with butylated hydroxytoluene as a preservative. This was freshly distilled, and then butylated hydroxytoluene is a free radical scavenger, which prevents free radicals from forming, because THF is an ether, and all ethers form explosive hydroperoxides by reacting with molecular oxygen. So again, it's very important that we have enough dry THF here, and it's dry. One way to keep it dry is we have molecular sieves on the bottom here. Molecular sieves, I don't know if you can see them, they're tiny little balls in here, tiny little. The molecular sieves are a zeolite inorganic structure which has pores in it that water likes to fit in, and so any traces of water typically get absorbed like a sponge, sort of, inside of these special molecular sieves. Typically they're 4A. We use the molecular sieves 4A, and we have tons of them in the lab. Okay, so this is where you get your anhydrous THF from. Now what I want to do is be absolutely sure it's dry as a bone, make sure I get any traces of peroxide that might be there out. So what I'm going to do is pass it through a short column of basic alumina. Okay, alumina comes in basic, as neutral, and acidic forms. And let me just get this out of here for now. So this is right over on the shelf, right over here, right above where I got the THF. And again, aluminum oxide. It's also known as alumina. Basic powder. Okay, so alumina is very good for removing trace impurities from solvents. So I'm just going to pour some in here, and then I can pour it. You should be very, you want to also tighten, right? Everything you use, every single thing you open, be sure you tighten it before you put it back and put it away. Okay, so now I'm just going to pour it into here and form a little column. Yep, in fact, that's good enough. Okay, so there's my alumina, little column here. It'll do several things. It'll remove any traces of water. It'll remove the preservative, the BHT, butylated hydroxytoluene, and it will remove peroxides, any trace peroxides. Just first let some of it come out of the. No, we don't take the first couple of drops. Okay, we're going to add it, and again, I like to add it. Can I get another tip? This was, wait a second, yeah, this had water. So again, we want to be sure the anhydrous THF stays anhydrous. Keep it closed, and we put it back in the desiccator the instant we are done with it. Okay, so. Okay, thank you. All right, so we don't just pour the THF in the top. Why? Because that'll disturb the bed of the little column there, and then we won't get the same efficiency. So what we want to do is just put it in slowly and gently. So again, about 1 ml at a time. Now we only need 3 mLs for the first reaction, and then 2 mLs for the second reaction. So we don't need a lot, so we do waste some. by doing this technique, but that's okay. And again, you'll see THF has a low surface tension, so it will drip out of the tip here a little bit because it has a much lower surface tension than mortar, so don't be surprised if it does drip out of the tip a little bit. Now you can see it working its way through the column, and again, the first ml or so, I just make sure I let it go through. Now, I also want to add to the point where I know I'm not going to run out, so there we go. I'm adding it a little quicker. Okay, now we're starting to come out the column. Again, an ml or so we waste, that's okay. Alright. Okay, now, again, close up the THF, because this is the stuff that needs to stay dry. Now, we just simply transfer, take this away, and at this point we can just let it drip right in. That's it. There you go. You want to zoom in on that? Okay. Now, if we need to add more, we add more. If not, let's see. Now, we add it, basically, you just add it to the top. We're just near the top. It doesn't say 3, but it's okay. Just fill it up. It doesn't have to be exactly 3, as long as it's close to 3. And that's approximately the full volume of that little the reactor vial. So there we go. We're up to almost 2 mLs now. Again, we're dripping in, dripping in, dripping in. Very nice. And we just let it go until it hits, until we get near the top. Then, once we get near the top, we immediately cap it off. Okay? Immediately cap it off. Now, the tops of these guys can be pushed to the left or to the right to open the tiny opening and hole in here for you to inject with your syringe. So again, we're going just a little more. We're pretty much there. You know what? Again, that's good enough. So I can raise this, put that there to catch the rest, tighten it up. Okay, bingo, tight. Now we stir. Put it on. You don't have to stir like crazy. You want to zoom in on that. Okay. Sorry, 3 mLs. Now I don't have to worry about this sucking up water now. It doesn't matter because I'm adding water to it anyway. So again, because THF is low, evaporates pretty easily. That's why we have these little caps here. I may need to add a tad more THF to the top here to collect 3 mLs. That's right, it's 3 mLs to 2 mLs of water. 3 mLs THF to 2 mLs of water. So again, make sure it's topped off. We got this. Let me just tilt it a little bit here. Make sure we get another. Okay, so we got one, another one, and then one more. Okay, there we go. We have 3 mLs of THF in there. Fine. Be absolutely sure you cap it up because THF will evaporate. Very good. Now this is just going into here in case we need more for whatever reason. This can just drip and just leave it alone. And then we just let it evaporate. Okay. Now for the reaction. Remember, solution 1 has got the fatty acid in it, and now we're going to make a mixed anhydride. And we will, THF goes back into the desiccator. Again, tight top. back into the desiccator. Okay, so here's our first solution right here. And we have 2 dry syringes. First thing that goes in is the triethylamine to form the carboxylate salt. So how many macroliters of that? I think it's 14 or 28, was it?
It is 14 microliters, correct.
Okay. Again, up, down, up, down. Okey-doke. Now, I'll see if on the top here, this should have been closed the way it is. You can tell because you can jab it around the top in here and it won't go in. Yeah. So it won't go in. Now you push to the other side, let the needle go all the way in. I mean, not all the way, but let it go into the solution. That's why you don't want this stirring like crazy. You can stir it just like that, perfectly fine, nice and easy. Okay, there we go. So right into the solution, and just right in, just like that. In and out. Perfectly fine. Close it. Good. We're done with this syringe. Put it over to the side. Now we use the other dry syringe for adding the 10 microliters, I think, of ethyl chloroformate. Let's see, I've only done this how many times? Probably 1,000. And again, this is in the door. You find this in the door of the refrigerator. And again, closed, tight, because this is, again, very reactive stuff here, this ethyl chloroformate. It's also a lacrimator, so it will make you cry if you get the vapors in your face too much. So again, vapors, keep them away from you. Notice the syringe, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Okay, and then we draw up typically more than what we need and then dispense it out. Okay, a little more. Okay, fine. Close the ethyl chloroformate. Now, open. Inject the 10 microliters of ethyl chloroformate. You may have to wiggle it around a bit to find the opening here. There we go. Right in and slowly inject while it's spinning. There we go. Slowly inject while it's spinning. 10 microliters. Bingo. Close it. And within any second, we should see a precipitate start forming. Zoom in on that. Ta-da. Okay, that's the triethylamine hydrochloride salt that's precipitating. That means the reaction is taking place, and we just let it stir like this for a total of 20 minutes. So what's the time?
It is 12:34.
Okay. Now, while this is stirring for 20 minutes, this is what we must do. We already have the THF in here, and it has to have been capped. Otherwise, the THF will evaporate very quickly, and it won't be 3 mLs anymore. We're going to add 2 mLs of water and 25 milligrams of potassium bicarb. Okay, so we're going to do that. We'll come back in 20 minutes.